Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the City of Laurel. I am Communications Director Audrey Barnes, and I have some very good news for the residents of Laurel this morning. It's been almost exactly 1 year since the City of Laurel, our state, and Prince George's County officials, along with Laurel and northern Prince George's County residents, embarked on a journey to chart a new path forward for Laurel Regional Hospital. This path forward recognizes the significance of this institution to our community and the employees who work there. And today, we share a vision of how to move healthcare delivery in Laurel forward into the 21st century. Joining us today, Laurel Mayor Craig A. Moe, members of the Laurel City Council, Councilwoman Valerie Nicholas is here. Councilwoman Donna Crary is here. Beside her is Cynthia Metavarpu, who is a registered nurse at Laurel Regional Hospital. Also speaking today, Councilman Mike Les is here, just joining us. Okay. Laurel City Council President Ed Ricks is here as well. Councilman Fred Smalls wanted to be here. He's at the hospital with a relative who is having some issues this morning. So our prayers are with Fred Smalls and his family as they deal with their personal crisis this morning. Also joining us, Prince George's County Executive Rashawn Baker III is here. Prince George's County Councilwoman Mary Lehman. Beside her is Robert Krensick, the President and CEO of the University of Maryland Medical System. Mr. Krensick. Of course, you know Laurel Mayor Craig Moe. Okay. And also joining us this morning, State Senator Jim Rosapep. Those are our speakers. Let me just take a quick moment to recognize many of the city staff who are also joining us this morning. Our city administrator, Marty Fleming, is here. The chief of the Volunteer Fire Department, Dwayne Hull, is here. Laurel's police chief, Richard McLaughlin, is here, and many other city staffers this morning. Thank you all for joining us for this very big announcement. I also want to mention that Delegate Jocelyn Pena-Melnick is not here this morning, but she has been instrumental in the effort that brought us here today. So please thank her and show her some appreciation for her efforts this morning. That is also true of Senator Doug Peters, who is also joining us today. Thank you very much for all your work to get us to this point, Senator Peters. And also, I don't want to forget, Delegate Geraldine Smith was also very much involved in the process that got us here today, so thank you for that. The plan that we are announcing today was spearheaded in large measure by Prince George's County Executive Rashawn Baker, and he will share his vision with you all in just a moment. But first, I'd like to call to the podium Robert Krensick, the President and CEO of the University of Maryland Medical System. Mr. Krensick?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's quite a pleasure and a privilege to join this crowd. Let me introduce myself again. I'm Bob Krensick. I'm the CEO of the University of Maryland Medical System, a group that in partnership here you may not have heard of, but the University of Maryland Medical System is the largest hospital system here in the state of Maryland. We have 12 hospitals, actually 25,000 employees, if you can imagine that. But 12 hospitals that span the state. The hub of our system is the University of Maryland Medical Center, downtown Baltimore, and we're partnered very closely with the School of Medicine of the university. So partnership is in our DNA, and we are a Maryland-focused organization. All of our hospitals, which again span the state, are here in Maryland, and when the day is done, we are all about Maryland and taking care of Maryland citizens. The Maryland Shock Trauma Center, for example, is a part of our organization. So let me begin by thanking County Executive Baker for his vision and for being such a tremendous partner. Again, we're built around partnership, and Rashawn's a great partner, and we think together we will be able to transform healthcare delivery here for the citizens of Prince George's County. Also want to thank members of the county council, the city council, and because I've watched the hard work that these groups have put in, and I'm very impressed by it. Let me also recognize one of our other partners here, Dimensions Healthcare System. We have some of their executives here today to thank their board and their leadership for working together to align our organizations, which is also another very important word: partnership, alignment. We're working hard to accomplish that. And then, of course, I want to thank Mayor Moe for his focus and his collaboration here. His dedication to this city is truly remarkable, and it's really almost obvious. It's obvious from the moment you meet him, he cares about this town, and he's a great partner. But much of the focus of this project has been around. You've probably heard the new regional medical center, which would go down in Largo, and that's for a very good reason. Haven't been around healthcare in this state for over 30 years. Doing what I do. It's remarkable that a county with 900,000 people, Prince George's County, would not have a world-class medical center, but it doesn't. So we're excited about creating a new regional medical center that would bring state-of-the-art academic level medicine into this county, which it just very much deserves and very much needs. So we're excited about that. And I'm really delighted because I'm optimistic that we're getting close to getting through the regulatory process that would give us the approval to break ground on that regional medical center, and it will serve as an anchor point for healthcare delivery in the county. But every bit as important as that regional medical center is, developing a comprehensive healthcare system for the county, and particularly a healthcare delivery system up here in Laurel, just matters tremendously to the University of Maryland Medical System. We're very focused on it. And I think it's very appropriate that we're having this meeting today in a community municipal center. And this is in many ways a launch here of the first step in the partnership between the University of Maryland Medical System and Prince George's County, that together we will transform healthcare delivery across the county, but more importantly to you here in the Laurel region. And although we haven't yet defined exactly what the future Laurel Healthcare Campus would look like, I can promise you that when it is redesigned, it's going to be redesigned through a process that is going to be very, very community focused, and it's also going to have a tremendous eye towards access to care and, importantly, convenience to the citizens and neighbors of this town. And finally, again, I want to thank and recognize Mayor Craig Moe, along with Dr. Steve Bartlett. I'll have more to say about Dr. Bartlett later. He's our chief surgeon. They have agreed to co-chair the strategic planning work group. So again, thank you, Mayor Moe. Thank you, Dr. Bartlett. Also want to thank Senator Rosapap, Councilwoman Lehman, and the other local elected officials, as well as our workforce partners, for their dedicated time here, all focused on re-envisioning healthcare in the Laurel area. So let me just wrap up by simply saying, speaking for the 12 hospitals of the University of Maryland Medical System, we are very, very excited about the partnership that is emerging here, and we think when the day is done, the citizens of Laurel and the citizens of Prince George's County are going to be much better off. So thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krensek. This really was a year-long journey to get us to this point. There were several months worth of meetings, regular meetings here at the Laurel Municipal Center involving state, county, and local elected officials and their staff. There were regular Saturday morning conference calls and road trips to Annapolis. Many of you were on the buses that went to Annapolis to fight for Laurel Regional Hospital. And not to mention numerous council meetings and community meetings, all about Laurel Regional Hospital and its future. Prince George's County Councilwoman Mary Lehman was probably at all of those meetings, on those conference calls. She's been passionately fighting to preserve Laurel Regional Hospital since those changes were first proposed in July of 2015. So please welcome Mary Lehman.
Thank you, Audrey, for that nice introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. Well, it has been a long and arduous process this past year, working local and state elected officials together, and then with the University of Maryland Medical System, trying to figure out how do we keep Laurel Regional Hospital open. This is my 6th year on the county council, and I have to tell you, this is the longest and the hardest that I have worked on any single issue. And for those of you who know me, including the county executive, you know that I don't give up easily. But I do have to tell you, there were times when it was tempting, really and truly. And there were times when it looked like there were obstacles that we might not overcome. But what kept me going, honestly, and I mean this from my heart, is the communications that I got from my constituents, including many of you here in this room. The emails, the phone calls, the letters that I got, a lot of them came from seniors, but I also heard from families. And one message that stuck with me in particular, that really touched me and has stayed with me, was from a mother from the Vansville area of Beltsville. And she described to me having a son that's severely asthmatic. And I think she said he was 12 or 13 years old, and they had had many close calls with him and getting him to the hospital in the throes of an attack just in time. And many of those times he was treated at Laurel. But what she said in her email is, I cannot imagine if Laurel goes away and he's having one of these attacks and we're having to make our way and there's just a little bit of traffic between here and Howard County General, what would happen? I don't need to think what would happen. I know what would happen. We'd probably lose him. And that really stayed with me. And we don't want to find that out. And that's why I, along with the mayor and city council and our partners in state government from districts 21 and 23, kept working at this. So there's short-term and long-term, I think, good news at hand and on the horizon. The best news in the short term is that we will have a full-service hospital with beds in Laurel through 2017. And that is good news. Thank you. That is very good news. And then beyond that, and you'll hear a little bit more about this strategic planning work group, beyond 2017, this group will work to figure out what Laurel will look like between 2017 and 2019, and then beyond 2019. My hope has been and remains that we keep inpatient beds at Laurel. We need a range of services in Laurel, that is for certain. One of my biggest concerns, though, and I've been very open about saying this, is psychiatric care. I have a history of depression in my family, so I've seen up close what that looks like and what that can do to people. And certainly there are a lot of needs like that in Laurel, but also we have a significant need with a homeless and at-risk population. We have a homeless population here in Laurel. There are a lot of people that pass through this area because it is at the nexus of 4 counties and it's halfway between Baltimore and Washington. So a lot of people pass through or they land here temporarily and they're in need of psychiatric services. And they're in need of inpatient psychiatric services. They need compassion, they need care. I believe they need beds, and I'm hopeful that we will be able to keep those. But that will be determined again by this strategic planning work group. So I will finish by saying that I'm optimistic going forward. I'm very optimistic that we will have meaningful and thoughtful local input in Laurel's future, and that we will end up with a modernized hospital that will meet the needs of northern Prince George's County and the 4-county area. And with that, I want to thank Mayor Moe in particular for his leadership, and the city for hosting all of these many meetings and setting up all those Saturday conference calls that Audrey talked about, and also my partners from District 21 and District 23, especially Senator Rosa Pepp and Senator Doug Peters, as well as Delegate Geraldine Valentino-Smith, who is not here, and Delegate Pena Melnick. And thank you all for coming here. Thank you for caring.
Thank you very much, Mary. Our next speaker is State Senator Jim Rosapep of the 21st District. Senator Rosapep has fought as vigorously as anybody to move health care in Laurel into the 21st century. So please welcome Senator Rosa Peck.
Thank you very much, and thanks to everyone who is here today, and thanks to everyone who is not here today, but over these months has been very supportive of this effort to protect the healthcare services we need in this community. This really has been a community-wide effort, and everybody's been thanking everybody, and it's appropriately so, and so I will add my voice to those thank yous. I want to make one little twist on it, though, is the people who live in the city of Laurel, I think, understand what kind of leadership the mayor and the council and this city government provides. We would not be here today but for their leadership. But those of us who don't live in the city of Laurel, who benefit from the leadership of the city of Laurel, need to thank the leadership in Laurel, because all of us in West Laurel, in South Laurel, in Beltsville, in Bowie, in College Park, need to thank the leadership of Laurel. Let's have a round of applause for all that's in Laurel. I also want to thank the University of Maryland medical system. A year ago, it was about a year ago that we were in this room right after that stunning announcement, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And within several months, stood up, reached out its hand, and said, we will work with you to solve this problem in Laurel. And it was a corporate decision by Laurel. The president, Bob Krenchik, is here today representing his institution, doing a great job of it. It's a big institution. They're based in Baltimore. And for them to make the corporate decision that they were going to take the time and attention to work with us on our problem says a lot about what kind of organization that is. In particular, they assigned to this project Dr. Steve Bartlett, who is a surgeon-in-chief for the University of Maryland Medical System and intended to be here today. He's on the agenda. And he's not here because he's a practicing surgeon who had a patient who needed surgery right now. And so it shows you the kind of man he is and the kind of man they've assigned to work with us to provide the health care service we need. He's there when we need him. He's there when his patients need him. And I've spent time walking the hospital with him. He spent hours and hours and hours, days and days working with all of us. And as I've told him repeatedly, we're just getting started. We're going to spend a lot of time together over the next few years. So I want to thank and Dr. Bartlett. And I also want to recognize the Service Employees International Union, because they represent so many of the employees at Laurel Hospital and have provided such leadership over many years, including the last year, in focusing everybody's attention on the needs of the patients. And with strong support from all of us who represent this area and strong support from SEIU has been a partner with us in this entire process and will be a partner with us as we go forward. Now, details on what and the leadership here in Laurel have agreed to are laid out in a letter that I believe is available outside on a big board, but more importantly will be available online. And it's a several-page letter, and it lays out analysis of the situation, goes into more detail than Mary Lehman was able to on what's going to happen now, what's going to happen over the next year, what's going to happen in the following 2 years, and where are we trying to go. I urge you to look at that, study it, understand it, ask questions about it, because it's the roadmap for what we're going to be doing over the next several years. In addition, there is a letter from the group of elected officials of Laurel to that acknowledges and supports what has presented to us, which we very much appreciate, and makes clear that when we get beyond 2019, when we get beyond the Regional Medical Center being created, when we get beyond the vision for the new Laurel being put together, that the governing board for the Prince George's Hospital System will include substantive, effective, appropriate representation for this community and for the Bowie community to make sure that we have the engagement going forward so that 10 years from now, 15 years from now, the Laurel community and the Bowie communities will have that role to look out for the community's interests. So the details are there, but let me just summarize from my point of view where we are today compared to where we were a year ago in this room. First of all, we're 180 degrees from where we were a year ago. Number one, Laurel Hospital is not going to close. Number two, the University of Maryland Medical System is going to take over Laurel Hospital. They've committed to doing it promptly. Number three, the design of the new Laurel Hospital will be through an open, collaborative process, not a secret meeting in a back room. That doesn't mean that there aren't some expectations that I think UMS has and that I think the leadership here in Laurel has and I know the county executive has. And that is that when we go through this process, when we look at the issues, when we look at the finances, we look at the needs, where we talk with the experts, where we talk with the community, where we talk with the patients, we talk with the doctors and the nurses and the workers at Laurel Hospital, we expect to come up with a plan for a high-tech, high-touch, 21st century community hospital. Laurel today does many good things. It is not a high-tech, high-touch, 21st century community hospital. But that is what this community deserves. And that is what UMS is committed to, the county's committed to, the city's committed to, and all of us in the legislature are committed to, and look forward to working with all of you in making that a reality. With that, I want to introduce our leader, Mayor Moe.
It's tough to follow. Thank you, Senator Rosenpep. I appreciate that introduction. To all of you here today, welcome to Laurel Municipal Center. Mr. President, we look forward to working with the University of Maryland Medical System. I know working with you and the community will help shape the future of health care services in our community. To our County Executive Baker, thank you for your vision, leadership, and your support and friendship to the Laurel community. Your commitment and backing of Laurel's work group helped us get here today, and for sure, we thank you very much for that as well. Laurel's work group was formed within hours of us learning about the proposed changes at Laurel Regional Hospital. I started calling Laurel local elected officials, and they responded. So did doctors, nurses, and other employees and union members at the hospital. And the community responded too. Many of you here today boarded buses to Annapolis, attended community meetings, sent letters, made phone calls, all to save Laurel Regional Hospital and to push to improve and enhance health care services in our community and our county. All of those efforts got us to where we are today. So thank you all for getting involved. But we're not done. Through this agreement, the work group will evaluate all inpatient services currently offered at Laurel Regional Hospital as the University of Maryland Medical Systems focuses on improving existing services and provides high-quality care. UMS will rebrand Laurel Regional Hospital to preserve and to grow. And I believe once it's rebranded, doctors and residents will return. And yes, they will grow. After the strategic planning group has done its work, it's expected that Laurel Regional Hospital and the medical campus will offer enhanced emergency medical care, state-of-the-art operating rooms, overnight observation beds, lab services, and medical offices offering pediatric services, maternal and child health, geriatric care, diabetes care, behavioral health, urgent care, and a revamp of community volunteer programs. I am excited to get started. I am very happy to co-chair the strategic planning work group, and we're going to have to engage the community to be involved, and you're going to have to stay involved. This is a long process. Your input is critical as we make recommendations regarding the transformation and modernization of the Laurel Regional Hospital into a medical campus where we can once again be proud of and one we deserve. If you're interested in being part of the strategic planning work group, please let me know or let one of the other members of the team know, because we want your help and your service. The elected officials and the community's voices were heard by UMS and by our county executive that acted in the best interest of our community. And I again want to thank you both for that. Thanks also go out to the hardworking elected officials, Senators Rosenpep and Peters, Delegate Pena Melnick, Barnes, and Valentino Smith, County Council Member Lehman, and City Council members Ricks, Les, Prairie, Nichols, and Smalls for their hard work on behalf of the Laurel residents. So thank you all very much. So my notes say this is where I'm to introduce the coach. My next job was to introduce the co-chair of the Strategic Planning Work Group, and that was Surgeon-in-Chief of the University of Maryland Medical System, a good man that has a vision that's very hardworking. And I can tell you one thing, Senator Rosenpep called him around the clock and he answered his phone. And I kept trying to tell him, don't give your phone number to Senator Rosenpep. Jim's around the clock, and I very much appreciate it. But Dr. Stephen Bartlett will be a wonderful addition to the work group. I look forward to working with him. He understands the community needs. He understands the future of what the community of Laurel and the rest of the county needs. So with that said, Audrey, I think we've got another. Bob, did you want, I'm sorry, Bob? Yes.
Just a quick word about Dr. Steve Bartlett. Again, he's the Surgeon-in-Chief of the entire University of Maryland medical system, but today he is also a world-class transplant surgeon. So he does kidney transplants, and he does them when the organs are available. This morning he has a wait list that's quite long. Organ became available. He's doing, the only time he won't answer the phone is when he's in the operating room. That's where he is right now. He's a wonderful guy, and we dedicate him here to work with the team, and I know you'll see his commitment and around-the-clock work behavior. So he's a great friend, and I'm sure, Mayor, he'll continue on here. Thank you.
Let me just end by saying thank you all again for being here today. And again, keep your involvement. It's very important, and we need to make sure that the message is loud and clear as we continue to move forward. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mayor Moe. Besides the residents of Laurel and northern Prince George's County, the people most affected by the changes that were proposed for the hospital back in July of 2015, the people affected the most were the employees who worked there, members of SEI Local 1199, and many of them are here today. We want to acknowledge your hard work. Jennifer, very involved from the very beginning. Members of SEIU, if you want to stand and be recognized, I think we'd like to know that there's several members of the hospital are here. I'd like to now call to the podium Cynthia Metavarpu. She's a registered nurse at Laurel Regional Hospital, and she has some remarks she'd like to make this morning. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cynthia Metavarpu, and I'm proud to say that I'm a critical care nurse at Laurel Regional Hospital. As healthcare professionals, my colleagues and I are pleased that we will continue providing quality care to our patients and our community. The special work group should ensure that patients and employees are considered and heard as we design how healthcare is provided in Maryland. Over the last year, many families, their children, injured and chronically ill patients have depended on the life-saving care they have received at our hospital. Many voices were raised to advocate for continuing quality care and treatment at Laurel Regional Hospital. Today, our voices are heard, and I am proud that today our advocacy has resulted in today's announcements. Our union, the 1199 SEIU, is proud to have joined with the Laurel community and elected officials in advocating continued quality care in Prince George County. Today, our future is brighter for our patients, our community, and for the caregivers at Laurel Regional Hospital. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cynthia, and to all the members of SEIU Local 1199 who came to be with us today. Today's announcement is all about planning for a healthy future for Laurel Regional Hospital and the surrounding community. And the man with the vision, County Executive Rashawn Baker.
Thank you, Aubrey. Good afternoon. Hope everyone's doing well. The man with the vision. That is not true. I look forward to the vision being shaped by the working group, as Mayor Moe has said. Today, announcement fills a pledge that I made to the mayor, that I made to UMS, to elected officials, to SEIU, and to the community, that we would modernize the Laurel campus. But there are some folks that I think we need to thank, and I need to thank, before I go into the remarks, and that's I'd like to thank the Mentions Healthcare System for their bold step last year in starting this transition for Laurel's campus into a modern facility. I especially want to recognize your very own Phil Nichols, who's the chair of that board, for making some very tough and bold decisions. I want to acknowledge Neil Moore and his team for not only implementing the decisions, but the things that they've done to Dimensions and to Prince George's Hospital that got us to where we are today. Because quite honestly, if he and his team had not done the things to modernize and streamline that hospital itself, we couldn't have a relationship with UMS today. So we should give them a round of applause for their work. I want to thank Bob Krensitz and his team for working with us and being committed to making sure as we move forward, we provide the best health care we can, not only for Laurel in the northern part of Prince George's County, but all of Prince George's County, all 500 square miles. In her remarks, Councilmember Lehman, who is phenomenal, so let's give her a round of applause. You guys are very fortunate. I did kind of, cringe a little bit when she said, she's worked on this issue harder than any other issue. I don't know an issue she works on that she doesn't work on hard and tenacious, and she is a great representative for this community, but also for Prince George's County. But in her, yes, please. But in her remarks, she gave an example of a family that saw the need to have this facility up here and being close, and how time is of an essence when we're dealing with healthcare. Unfortunately for me, on a personal level, I've gotten to know that pretty well. I'm right next to Prince George's Hospital, and way too many times that I would wish I've had to rush over there with my wife. So I know how seconds are, and I know how families feel. And that is why it's vital for us in Prince George's County, not only to build a world-class regional medical center that provides health care for all of the county and trauma, but it's also important that every part, especially up here and in the Bowie area, that we understand that. And I want you to know, I don't miss that. I don't take it for granted. I understand it deeply, personally. And every decision that we make will take that into consideration. It will take into consideration the nurses and doctors that work there, the folks from SEIU who work in some really, really challenging conditions. It is our commitment as a government that we fix that we help you, that you're part of us going forward. It is our commitment as a government that we provide the best health care up here that we can. And we're going to do that. Is it going to be easy? No. Are we going to have to make some tough decisions? Yes. But at the end of the day, we're going to make sure that all of Prince George's County has quality health care. The idea moving forward is, when we built this new regional medical center, is not to build a hospital. It simply wasn't about putting a hospital in Largo. It was about connecting health care throughout. It's about making sure that the families that Councilman Lehman are talking about can go to that facility right next to them and get the quality care they need. But if they need to be transferred to a regional trauma center, we can do that. It's about making sure people who are in the southern part of the county also have access to quality health care. We are the second largest jurisdiction in this state. We are right next to the nation's capital. It makes no sense. It is unacceptable for any part of this great county not to have quality health care. That will not happen. And it cannot happen without you. Not the elected officials, not the doctors and nurses, but the community. You have just now signed up for responsibility. Congratulations. Yes, you have wrote letters, you have called offices, you have pestered elected officials, you have done all of these things. You've traveled to Annapolis. Congratulations. That was the easy part. The hard work begins now. That is a blueprint out there, the letter that to the mayor of the things that we want to do for the working group. It is simply a piece of paper. Without your input, without your thoughts, you, the community, you, the residents who live here, you who have gone to that hospital, without your input, it is simply a piece of paper. And the men and women you see up here would use their best guess. By writing, advocating, you have said you want your best guess to be included in that. This is your moment. We welcome it. I welcome it. Because by doing that, you're going to make this county better than it's ever been. You're going to bring back people who may have left here back. You're going to bring back doctors. You're going to bring back nurses. But it's a critical part of it. So yes, this is just the beginning. And the example to really just make the weight of your decisions feel, the example you're going to show by what we do here in Laurel, because you're the first step of it, or in Bowie, the example you show are going to be seen throughout this county. Cheverly, the community I live in, where we're moving that facility from, is going to look at your example. Suitland, where we're going to have health clinics, is looking at your example. Fort Washington, Akakie is looking at your example. Yes, you are the light. If we get it right up here, we're going to get it right throughout the county. And I have every faith in the world that you're going to give it right. So I'm going to give you a round of applause. Let me say this, and then I will step off. I purposely didn't thank the mayor. Not that I don't like the mayor. It's a great looking guy. But I saved it for last. I do want to thank, not the mayor, but I want to thank his parents. I mean, can we give them a round of applause? Yeah, the mayor and his brother and I have worked together for years. But their commitment to this county and to this area is not by accident. It's by having great parents who are committed not just to their own family, but to this community at large. It wasn't just the mayor advocating, it was his parents that used that hospital, that know the importance of that hospital to this community, that instilled in their son, who is the mayor, to make sure that I understood how important it was, that Bob understands how important this hospital is to this region, that the elected officials, their example and their commitment. Because we would not be standing here today, quite honestly, if it had not been for Mayor Craig Moe. Can we give him a round of applause? So the work begins today. The working group will make sure that the vision of this community in this area of the county is included. And I look forward to not only building one of the best regional medical centers that this area has ever seen, but I look forward to the new, modernized Laurel. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baker. I want to ask that everybody please remain seated. We are broadcasting live, and I want to take a few questions from the media. If you do, reporters, have a question, can you please join Joyce Jackson at the back? There's a microphone there so that our audience at home who are watching this live broadcast could also hear your questions. If you have any questions, go ahead and we'll get the speaker out here.
Hi, I have two questions. Tracy Wilkins, NBC4 in Washington. The first one is this a signal that the county is looking at terminating its relationship with Dimensions?
That would be no. This is no. It's a partnership. You know, we wouldn't be here, as I said in my remarks. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the tough decisions Dimension and their board have made to making that hospital viable, so that a great partner like UMS would want to come in and partner with us. It had not been for the work of Dimensions, the county certainly would, and I think, you know, the councilwoman and her colleagues would agree with me. We certainly wouldn't be putting our money into an effort. This is part of it. So no, it's a partnership moving forward. It's what we said when we signed the MOU. It's been so long now, 5 years ago, when we finally came up with a solution for how we move, as I said, not just that hospital forward, but the whole system forward.
My second question is, Dimensions talked about the loss of money with Laurel Regional Hospital since the slight closure of the hospital, with so many departments closing and workers being laid off. How do you begin to brand the hospital to bring folks back into Laurel over the next 2 years or a year and a half?
Bob, you want to answer that? and I don't say that tongue-in-cheek to bring Bob up, but there's a reason why we're partnering with UMS, my partner, Prince.
Yeah, if you look at healthcare, it's a very, very local business. It gets delivered right in the community. And if you look at the University of Maryland Medical System, how we do it, we bring community hospitals into our system, but we pay very close attention to the local dynamics. Every market is different. In this particular case, there are some issues with Dimensions. There are some issues here at Laurel. Our job, we have a history. We've done this all across the state. We're a strong A-rated credit with great partners, and we are quite skilled at bringing community groups like the Laurel Regional Medical Center into our organization, reshaping the delivery of care here, and also rebranding it University of Maryland. So it signals the market that the world-class healthcare of the university is here. So expect, assuming we work through all these issues, that's what the future would hold.
Let me just add one thing, Bob. Let me just add one thing. Senator, you come on up. Is that what's going to make people come back here? Community itself. You know what the issues are with the Laurel Hospital. You know what the issues are with quality care. Once we incorporate that, because just think about who we're trying to attract back. We're trying to attract our residents who are leaving the county for health care back to this area, and so that will do it. Senator.
What a dance. We're all dancing together, as you can see. So I agree with everything that Bob and Rashern said, but I want just on the technicality of this is a year ago, there was an MOU that had expired actually between UMS and the county and the state that intended that UMS would take over the Prince George's Hospital system, including Laurel. Today, UMS has committed to take over within 90 days of when they get their certificate of need for the Largo Hospital, which is now before the state, number one. That's a big deal, big change. Number two is, Senator Peters in particular worked really hard on this with all of us in the legislature and Delegate Jocelyn Peña-Melnyk and others. The legislation passed this year in Annapolis says that the state aid to the Prince George's Hospital system is dependent on UMS taking over. And so the state has said no more money for Prince George's unless UMS takes over. UMS says we want to take over. The county executive and the county council said we want UMS to take over. So this is not pie in the sky when you die. This is a plan with deadlines for UMS to take over Laurel Hospital and Prince George's Hospital and Bowie Healthcare Center.
Do you have a note?
Yes, I'm Patty Valone with CTV News. I attended that press conference last year, and one of the things I noticed was there was a sense of bitterness from many of the officials there, the employees that were losing jobs. Has that changed? Because you, at the time, mentioned the bitterness stemmed from being not consulted on this and having very little notice. And do you see that this will change for the future here?
Patty, I'm trying to keep this on a positive note. So with that said, most know how I felt about the direction that Dimensions was taking the hospital. The bitterness you talk about, I think, throughout the community, I know the elected officials, including myself, I think we're very pleased with what we're seeing and we're hearing, and that is that Dimensions will be phased out and a world-class hospital will be moved in. So that's what we're looking for. And I think today with the amount of people that are here in the audience says a lot that the community wants to be engaged and involved and work with the city officials and county and state officials.
Patty, let me just add, I just don't want to forget this. You know, as I said before, you know, Dimensions and their board had to make some tough decisions, just like we in the county. Had they not, you know, brought in the spending and showed that they could actually save some money, we wouldn't be in a position where the state would give us money or UMS would be in a position where they want to partner with us. That's very, very important. And so what you're going to see moving forward, and I think what the mayor has said is, the main thing that we want to do is make sure there's quality health care throughout. And this is the step forward. I think residents want to be involved. They want to make sure it's the highest quality of care that we can get, and that we know with the new partnership, because simply if UMS was coming in here bringing Baltimore City here, that wouldn't go over well either. What we need is a partnership, and what they've promised us is a partnership, and that is also including the great things that we have at Dimensions.
Hi there, Arelis Hernandez with the Washington Post. I understand symbolically what all of this means, Senator Rosapep, with about sort of committing in a public space to taking over this hospital system as opposed to in theory. But I need clarification on substantively what this really changes other than the community input, because my understanding is that Dimensions had promised to, hadn't officially said they were going to close the hospital, they said it was conversion to a ambulatory care facility. And then I heard Mayor Mo talk about a medical campus, which is a word that I haven't heard thrown around about the future of the Laurel Regional Hospital. And so some clarification as to what substantively this changes, other than the fact that you guys are now on the same page and are going to work together. Because the hospital's still changing, right?
Let me start on this and then ask my friend, the county executive, to add to it. It's a big change.
Okay.
It's a big change. You're right. There was an impression created last summer, which I don't think was intended, the Laurel Hospital was going to close and we were going to end up with a dock in the box. That was the impression that was given. That was not the intent. But there was discussion last summer, public discussion, about what they call a freestanding medical facility. There was discussion about eliminating inpatient services. This agreement today, the commitment that UMS has made is to reopen those issues, to not go into this process with a closed mind. One of the things I didn't say about Dr. Bartlett earlier that I really feel is he has come to this community with an open mind and an open heart. That's a big change from a year ago.
Symbolically, though, right?
No, not symbolically. In reality, we are going to be working over the next year or so to figure out what services Laurel needs. Nothing is off the table. When you look at the letter, you will see there are a series of things we've already agreed on that we want on the table. We want a much better emergency room. We want a whole variety of additional services. But there are lots of issues that, I'll just speak for myself. I believe last summer, the impression was certainly created, and I believe there was reality to it, that there was an intent to exclude a variety of services in Laurel, which many people in Laurel think are important. What UMS has now agreed to is to evaluate those in an objective manner, in an open manner, in cooperation with the community. Where it'll come out, we don't know. That's a big change, in my view.
To have that question answered by UMS very quickly, just number one, the role of Dr. Bartlett in all of this primarily, and number two, does that mean then when these things are being reopened, does that mean the maternity ward will reopen? What exactly does that mean?
What it means is that Dr. Bartlett will co-chair the work group with the mayor, and that we will go back through the entire service delivery. We will look at everything that's been open, been closed, and we will re-examine everything. And you have to do that. And I cannot tell you what will come out of that at all. But this is a chance. But I will tell you this, and this is reality. Healthcare is changing. It is changing dramatically in the way it's delivered, where it's delivered. Technology is moving. Information technology is moving. There's just a lot going on. And that's exciting, too, because it's a chance to really step back, re-examine what is needed here, and bring the best that we can bring. But there are in everything you do in life, there are constraints, and we'll deal with them. The good news is we're bringing our entire portfolio of resources to try and help you get the best answer. So, but we don't know the answer yet.
Do you imagine Laurel Regional Hospital remaining a full-service hospital as it is today?
I don't know the answer. That's why we're having the work group. That's the nature of the that's the nature of the task in front of them. But
okay.
We'll come up with the best, and it'll be a balanced solution.
We're going to take one more question. Thank you. Wrap up the live portion of today's announcement.
Hi, Tina Reed from the Washington Business Journal. When this was first announced, Dimensions said this hospital here doesn't make financial sense anymore, and that's why they're taking a step back and they started eliminating services. Does a hospital here make financial sense, and if so, why?
This hospital can make financial sense. It's in a very good location in terms of. You just look around. You don't have to be from Laurel to know there's a lot of opportunity here. It's not, in my judgment, and this goes over. Having watched this for decades, this has not been a good story. We should be doing much. Dimensions and Laurel should be doing much better today than what they're doing. The institution has some financial challenges. Our job solve them, and there are issues here. Make no mistake about them. They go way back in time. But I think there's a great opportunity here to make the place better and to make it financially viable.
And do inpatient beds make financial sense here?
They can, but just remember, if you have inpatient beds, you need to fill them, and so that's been a problem here. So whatever services are here, we need the physicians, the nurses, and the demand for those services, or else it's not economically viable. So those are the things we'll sort out.
I think I want to emphasize what the last point Bob just made, and that is the services that are going to be up in this end are where the demand is and where they're needed. And that's what's going to drive. And I think that's what Dimension said when they reshaped the Laurel Hospital. And so we want to make sure that as we move forward, that's included. So this is a time for us to look at everything. It's a new situation also. You know, it's not dimensions alone. Coming in, what the needs are, but it's going to be driven by the community and the needs, just the same way, you know, the regional medical center is driven by what we think we can get from. That's why we're, you know, advocating very strongly at the state level for the hospital that we design for at Largo. The idea is that we think we can bring back patients and doctors to the county, and that's why we're having these discussions with the CON committee in Annapolis. Mayor.
I want to point out one thing as you go, or if you have the letter already, there is a commitment that no services, they will not do away with any other services, and made that commitment. That will stand until December 31st of 2017, which will allow the working group to come together, to be out there with the community, to get input, to be able to discuss all of those things that you just heard. The other piece of this, you heard me use the word medical campus. This is not just about the hospital. There is property up there that needs to be developed for medical services so that when you walk out of whatever building you need to walk out of, for one thing, you can go over to the other one. So it's about the campus that is long overdue and should have been developed long ago with medical services. And we need to continue to look at that, and that's one of the things that I will attempt to move forward when we talk about the planning group. So don't forget about that. It's just there's a lot of property up there where we can do many things to help many different people with different ailments they may have.
That does it for this event today. I want to encourage you all to stay tuned. We are going to rebroadcast this press conference in its entirety on Laurel TV. If you live within the city limits, you can watch Laurel TV on Comcast 996. That's in high definition television. We have that for you. If you don't have HD, you can watch it on channel 71 on Comcast. That's standard definition. And also our Verizon viewers can watch it on channel 12 here in Laurel. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to our speakers and to our city staff who attended today. Okay.